Good morning everybody, hope you're all doing well and a happy new year to you. It's the 2nd of January today and I've finally got some time to start looking at doing some bits and pieces on my Jaguar XJS V12. So today my intention is to fit these silencer replacement pipes and also fit the replacement transmission bushing mount. If we just scooch under the car and take a look at what we're doing. So I'm going to be replacing, let's turn the light on here, this exhaust silencer here and the one on the other side there with those bypass pipes. You can see they've got clamps onto the centre pipes just there. And then I also need to access the transmission mount, which is somewhere I'm afraid I can't quite reach, but it's somewhere under there. So I think I'm going to start by jacking the rear of the car up, and I think I'll probably jack up from that front corner as well, so I can kind of access from this side. That's kind of my basic plan, so let's see how it goes. Skill fade is a real thing. I've actually forgotten which piece of wood I used to jack up on the centre of the differential pan there. I think it's this one, but it could be that one or that one over there, or indeed that one just there. So a bit of trial and error, I have to work it out again. Well, that's the car jacked up on the rear. I always struggle a little bit with exactly how to put this car on stands. I'm interested in anyone else's views on this. You know, I jack in the centre of the subframe pan here, and then I put the stands under each jacking point either side, but I'm really quite uncomfortable with removing this jack completely from the centre, because as you can see, this subframe is held in by those rubber V-mounts, and I'm not entirely sure they're designed to be in tension this way, because they could, you know, separate, I think, fairly easily. So yeah, interesting to know what other people do when they're working under their car, or maybe I'm being overly cautious about things, but it's probably a healthy caution at the end of the day. But yeah, there we go. So I think I can access the exhausts from that side now. The connections just in there are fairly recent. I did those when I removed the rear IRS and fitted these stainless over axle pipes, so they should be no problem. And I think those ones down there, I think I'm just going to grind those off. So I think I'm going to do the exhausts. Actually, no, yeah, I should probably do that exhaust first, shouldn't I? That side, then do the transmission mount, because I may not be able to access the front exhaust section on this side because I'm up against the side of the garage. Bit of a painful job this, but we'll see how we get on. Anyway, it's good to be under here. Check everything's in order in the suspension. All looks pretty good. I did refurb this not too long ago. I removed the whole thing from the car, new suspension, new universal joints, all the brakes overhauled, new calipers. I do have a differential oil leak somewhere, which I do need to find. You can see a bit of it there. Looks remarkably dry on the bottom there, actually. I think it is one of these output shafts. I maybe didn't fit the seal properly. It's not leaking much, but I do need to check the level. I think I will do that while I'm here. You can see the grease there coming out of the pivot points. I need to raise these up as well. These are gas adjustable shock absorbers. I'm happy with the damper setting, but the ride height on the rear is a little bit low, so I will look to adjust that as well while I'm here. But yeah, everything else looks good, so yeah, I think I'm going to crack on with attempting to remove these exhaust pipes, or at least that one on that side, see how I get on. Well, I abandoned my plans for jacking it up from the rear, and I've just got it jacked up from this side now, and I'm just going to try and do this exhaust from this side and the transmission mount with the other exhaust in place. Some interesting things I've found. These bolts were actually finger tight. I think I must have not done them up properly when I fitted it. You can probably also see here that this exhaust pipe is, I think, fitted 120 degrees out of alignment. You can see it kind of points down here, whereas that one sort of tucks in. I did think this actually was the wrong type for this side, but maybe it is right and it's okay. You can see that one there, I did actually rotate it. You can see where it was hitting the ground just there. I did rotate it into what I think is the correct position. But yeah, all good fun. Also got some evidence of oil leaks. Looks like they're coming from around the oil filter. I think that one's engine oil, and then I think there's a transmission, no, a power steering fluid in the middle there, and then at the front, I think it's more engine oil. So I have to look into that. The joy of old cars, eh? Well, I got the exhaust out. Here it is. And this is the part where I have massive regrets about not just buying a new one of these. I thought, because it looked quite good under the car, that I'd reuse it. It looked like it was in quite good shiny condition. But of course, I can't separate it. You can see that orange line is where I started, and I've managed to get it out by maybe 6mm. Oh, this is such a painful job, but I guess more hammering and wiggling is the only solution. But yeah, I'm regretting not just buying a brand new one of these pipes now. Let's hope the other side's a bit easier. Right, managed to get it off with the help of the bench vise over there. It's really small, but it worked in the end with a bit of twisting. Yeah, it's a bit rusty, but that should clean up okay. You can see that mark there, that's where the pipe was too. So let's make a record of this. How far's that? Approximately 1 aerosol can in length there, and the alignment was pretty good on this side, although the system was loose. I think I'm going to aim for a similar sort of distance, and I'll probably just try and copy the other side now I think about it, because I think the front pipes are all even now. So let's have a look at the transmission mount. This is the next job, so here it is. I think this should be fairly straightforward really. The only one I'm a bit concerned about is that bolt just in there above the exhaust pipe. But I'm hoping I can get to that okay. But yeah, I think what I'll do is support the pan with a piece of wood and the jack, and then remove those bolts. Remove those bolts with the impact gun where I can, or with a ratcheting spanner just in there, and I think it should just kind of all come apart. You can see how kind of knackered it is there, look. And so look at the spring. So that's how low it is. See this gap here between the structure and this piece below. It's quite a large gap. So the transition is effectively sitting a little bit low, and it can kind of bounce down like this and hit this mount, I think. So hoping this bit will be a bit more straightforward. Let's see. Well, here we are. I had to crawl right under and disconnect the exhaust on that side, but we have the transmission mount out. As you can see there, I had to remove the exhaust heat shield. See that one there is now missing from this side. That's just over there. So yes, the exhaust mount is now out. Here are some of the bits. So that's the plate that you can see from the bottom. There's a big washer on it, as you can see. The bolts that keep it on. Those 4 bolts there are the ones that actually attach the mount to the car. Those screws are the exhaust heat shield. And then over here, this cylindrical piece and washer fell out when I lowered the effectively the spring pan, I guess, this piece down with the jack. And then here's the mount itself. There's the spring and there's the disintegrated bush inside. And here is my new bush, made like a rubber stuff, and the new spring, which is genuine Jaguar part CAC 2327. As you can see, genuine Jaguar. That spring doesn't actually look that worn, interestingly. But yeah, I suppose it must be. So yeah, there we go. So I'm going to give all this a clean up. It's probably going to be quite tricky to fit back in, but we should be able to manage it. I think the knocking I could hear were these bits effectively hitting the spring pan as the transmission sort of bounced up and down like that. But yeah, there we go. Not too difficult, just very cramped doing it on my back under the car like this. So I'm going to leave it all clean up. I'm going to try and refit it. I'm using this kind of secondary small jack to kind of push it back into place. You can see the transmission pan is supported by that main jack just there. And we'll see how we go. Here's a free tip for you. If you work on old cars a lot, you might find yourself draining the petrol tanks and having free fuel, or old fuel at least, hanging around and you don't know what to do with it. Use it as a degreaser, because it is brilliant at it. Bit of a horrible colour that, isn't it, in this old milk bottle, but there we go. Putting it to good use, much better than throwing it away or getting it recycled or similar. There you go, 2 minutes. I think you can even see the zinc plating still on that big piece. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you, old petrol. Well, I've got all the bolts nice and clean now, as you can see. I've cleaned the support and I've just given it a quick lick of Rust-Oleum rust converter paint, because why not? It was all degreased. I'm just looking at the springs here. The old one's on the left and the new one's on the right, so you can see they have sagged slightly. The old one has sagged slightly. Not a huge amount though, but I guess that's enough to make a difference. So, on with fitting. Right, the transmission mount is in. Getting the new cotton reel bush in place was a bit painful. I had to kind of chamfer it in the end and use red rubber grease, but that's what I've ended up with. Everything nice and clean and shiny, as you can see. Well, as good as it's going to get. And that's the distance the transmission is now sitting. So it's definitely a little bit higher than it was. So yeah, that's really good. I'm going to do the final tightening and then we're just on to finishing off the exhaust. Well, the exhausts are finally in. You can see looking this way that I definitely think this pipe here, the one closest to me, is the wrong one for this side, but you can see it's kind of pointing downwards rather than round like that one, but it's bolted up okay, and I think the olive's kind of in a good position. Ground clearance is all good, and here is the bypass pipes all in. They are a two-piece design, these, so you've got this separate part here and then a separate elbow just there. Hopefully you can see that. So there's quite a lot of adjustability. It makes fitting them a little bit easier, also a little bit more difficult because the whole thing kind of wants to rotate itself. But yeah, they're now in. I'm pleased. I had to replace the screws on this heat shield. Don't know if you can see the one in there. There we go. I had to replace those because that was rattling around a bit, although I never noticed when I was driving. Transmission mount still looking good. So yes, next step is, I think, fire it up and tighten everything. I can't quite get to the other side there to align that exhaust properly. I think it's rattling on something on the subframe, so I'll have to see if I can adjust that or if it's noticeable. But yeah, very pleased. I think the next thing is the fire up. first gear. Yes, that sound up at 4,000-5,000 is exactly what I want it to sound like. That's brilliant. Maybe it needs an X pipe though. It's that high pitch I really like. Well, there we are. I think it's all fixed. The gearbox mount repair was a success. I've got no more clunks when I go over lumps or when I accelerate hard in first gear, so that's really good. The exhaust is, yeah, great. I'm really happy with it. It's a bit loud on cold start, but yeah, I'm sitting in the car now with the windows closed and the engine on. Hope you can hear that. I'll give it a quick rev so you can see what it sounds like. Sounds really good, particularly above kind of 2,500, 3,000, and particularly in first gear up at 4,000, 5,000. That's the exact V12 noise I'm after. I think it does still want an X pipe. I might look into getting one fabricated. I think it would really benefit from one to kind of lift the tone of the overall exhaust note. But yeah, for now I'm really happy. It doesn't sound like it's knocking or leaking at all as well, so that's really good. So, cheerio everybody, until the next time.